Yo, yo, yo. These days, it seems like people are putting CBD in everything. I do. I put it in cupcakes, chickens. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of noise about it, but there's one company from Vermont that's worth the hype. CBD is kind of interesting. You know, it does a lot of stuff. You can put it in things. You can, anything you want. You know, you look it up. You can use it for a lot of stuff. I put it on, well, I can't tell you. Sunsoil makes CBD oil that is USDA certified organic. CBD is made from hemp plants, right? So how the hemp is grown really matters. Sunsoil farms their hemp in Vermont, and they never use pesticides, herbicides, or GMOs. Simple ingredients are in there. I try to be mindful about what I'm putting on my body, and that's why I love Sunsoil. It's made from simple ingredients that I can pronounce, and I can't pronounce much. Many of their products contain coconut oil and hemp. That's it. All right, so that's what I appreciate about it. I like things that are organic. I like things that make me feel good. I like things that are healthy, that aren't a gateway to stronger stuff and stronger coconut oils. Anyway, they got fair prices because Sunsoil farms their hemp and makes their CBD oil in-house. Their prices are less than half the price of other brands. So you get organic CBD at unbeatable prices. Okay, Sunsoil makes CBD oil with simple organic ingredients. Get 30% off your first order by going to sunsoil.com/Bob. That's right. That's sunsoil.com/Bob. That's B-O-B. I'm Bob. For 30% off your first order. That's 30% off your first order at sunsoil.com/Bob. Welcome. A special episode of Bob Saget's Here for You. That's my name. And Dave Coulier, Joey from Full House, is about to be on. And this is not for kids. This has got adult stuff in it. It's not Danny and Joey. What you're about to hear is not Danny and Joey. It is Dave Coulier and me, and we've known each other since he was 18 and I was 21 or 22. So we have stories that are graphic, and at the very, very end, I'm just telling you, he's probably going to crap his pants, for real. That's what's going to happen. I'm not kidding. This is a very long episode because we've known each other for a very long time, 40 years. So do what you do with this podcast, rate, review, subscribe, call that number sometimes because I'll be calling you guys. And that's a special episode, and I'll announce it on Twitter or Instagram stories or Facebook when I'll be calling you guys. And then please leave a message, and I will try to call you on days that I announce it. So here we go with a very talented guy, incredibly talented, and my brother, truly my brother. And you'll know why as soon as we start talking. Here comes my friend, Dave Coulier. Hi, Dave. It's your husband.
I've missed you.
I really miss you.
I miss you too. We haven't seen each other in a long time.
It's not right. I don't know why we haven't seen each other. I mean, what's up? Are you Anne Frank? Are you in the attic?
Yes. Yes. I'm in an attic right now where I store all my apparently all my Full House props.
Well, there's two wood trucks in the room, and I don't think anybody has ever seen them together.
Well, that one over there, that's the original one from Full House, but my dog ate his face one day, and I came home and he had no face. That one behind me, that's the one when you and I and John did Jimmy Fallon. Right. And Jimmy gave me that woodchuck.
That's amazing. I like the eating of the face one because you know how I felt about woodchuck. I love you. But woodchuck was something that I don't know why, but it always irritated me, and that made you want to do him more. I think I enhanced your woodchuckery.
Did you hate the voice, or you just hated the character, or both?
It was just so cute. I like cute things too, but I don't know. It just kind of.
Oh, you've seen my wiener. That's right.
You're asking me if I seen your wiener? This is going to be a very long podcast. Have I seen your wiener? And 2 hours later, have I seen it? I've got pictures. No, actually, I burned them. Now people know there's pictures. Maybe we'll talk about that. Why not?
All right.
I don't know. Okay. I don't know what could happen. So first thing, Tell people where you're living, because it's not just the two of us, though we feel it is. So that's what's the beauty of this.
I moved back home about 1.5 years ago here in
with
Michigan.
Your dad?
My dad is about 5 miles away. He turned 90 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
And all he does is make dying and death jokes. He's in the same house. He's in the same house that you stayed in when you were doing stand-up here at the Comedy Castle. You stayed in my old bedroom.
I stayed in the basement, which you turned into basically like the basement in Full House. It kind of is like that. It was kind of that, across of the basement and the guy of Silence of the Lambs. It was like that. Your dad rubbed the lotion on his skin and did what he was told.
Oh, was she a really big fat girl?
Precious.
So
that's a nice film for kids.
Yeah, the joke is my dad's still in the same house where I was born. In fact, he's still in the same chair. So
I saw your dad in pictures moving. So we have to explain it. Go ahead. Sorry.
He makes tons of dying and death jokes. And so we were over there about 2 weeks before his 90th birthday. And I said, Dad, how about if we just do a little backyard barbecue here at the house? And he goes, oh, that's great, but don't invite anybody. And I said, not even your two last living siblings, Uncle Don and Aunt Pat? And he goes, oh, Dave, why do I want to see them? I talk to them every week. And so then he said, just make sure when we do this, it's in the morning, because I might not be around by the afternoon.
Oh, God. Oh, man.
I know, that's all he does.
So quarantine hasn't really changed his life.
No, he said he's been quarantining and social distancing for the last 25 years.
I think more. So let's go back in time real quick, just because some people might not know this, but we know each other since you were how old? How old did I tell the police officer?
18. 18.
You were 18.
You told him I was 18.
That's what I said. Yeah, I brought a fake ID for you to fill out. And then that would have made me 22, I think. How old are you now?
I just turned 61 a couple weeks ago.
So I'm 3 years.
So
do the math.
Yes. So I met you at a place called the Delta Lady, and you were on a Comedy Store tour with Fred Raker and Jeff DeHart.
That's right.
And I had only been on stage at that club for 6 minutes the week before. And I really hadn't been around stand-ups very much. And you guys came in and blew the room away, and you were so funny and so professional that it inspired me. It gave me the
That's
kick
not
in the
true,
ass.
is it? Because you were working with...
Oh, totally.
But you were coming up in Detroit with Tim Allen and, Mark Sandrowski.
I didn't meet Tim till after that.
Oh.
I met Tim at the Comedy Castle because Tim wasn't performing at the Delta Lady, but you guys came into there. It was comedy night, and you guys blew the room away, all three of you. And I just thought, wow, that's where I want to be. I want to be as good as those guys, and polished and funny. And you were talking to the audience, which I'd never seen comedians really do that well. And you talk to the audience, and I just thought, wow, this is where I want to be. And then afterwards,
what a mistake!
I don't know if you remember.
Huge mistake you made.
And then afterwards, we were standing at the bar, and I wasn't old enough to be in that club, and so.
Well, you know me from a very young age. I was saying, you're old enough.
Yeah.
Bring him a shot.
Here's your ID. Here's your ID. Fill it out.
I got a laminating
I give it
kit.
to all the guys.
Give it to all the guys. Get in the car.
And you gave me your
Are
number.
Those stretch pants?
Do those come off really fast? Is there a quick release button on those?
I don't like jeans with the buttons.
So you gave me your number, and you said, when you're in LA, give me a call. And I kept that piece of paper, and I called you when I was in LA.
Wasn't that Mike Binder that first? How did I know to go to the Delta Lady? Because Mike Binder I met Mike when he was 17, You've been friends with Mike. How did you meet Mike?
I hadn't met Mike yet.
I'm your first. Am I your first man friend?
I met you first before Mike, before Tim Allen. Like I said, I had only done 6 minutes the week prior. I was a newbie. I was just starting out. I had only done stand-up in high school and a couple of new talent nights around Detroit.
Do you know that I never knew this? We've known each other for 40 years.
I've been saving it for when when Bob gets a talk show, that's what I'm going to save all this stuff.
Well, I still don't have one, but I have a podcast. I'm failing upward.
So that was a really important, pivotal part in my life, was meeting you, and I guess we just have never really talked about it.
That's so weird, because I don't know how I got to the Delta lady. I literally don't know how I got there. I mean, I don't know if I took a cab or rented a car. I know if I rented a car, I wouldn't let Jeff or Fred drive because I'm a control freak. So, and
Jeff DeHart. Hi, Jeff DeHart.
He's going to listen to this.
I know, that's my Jeff impression. He's an impressionist.
He's a sweetheart. He's a sweetheart, and Fred's a very funny, nice guy. Lives in San Francisco, and I say praying more than I ever did, but all the people up there with all that horrible smoke, and God, the world's like nuts. So does it make you?
It is. It's crazy.
It's, and I don't even want to talk about it because we're exhausted talking about it, right? I'm exhausted from it.
Yeah, and I'm back home where I grew up, and we're experiencing fall right now. So the leaves are all changing colors. I'm on Lake St. Clair, which is the lake I grew up on. It's beautiful, and my wife Melissa was just out there. She has a new company.
I know.
I've been saving that too.
Oh God, that's the wedding I went to. That's where I ate pulled pork. Pulled pork. All you had at your wedding. It was so beautiful. I loved it so much, and you were so proud. It was all fart food. Now people need to know that farts are like basically your core. It starts with farts, and then it goes to amazing impressions at your roots when you were young. I'm
farting on my roots right now.
Did you dye your butt hair?
Yeah, I do. I try to every week just to stay young.
My butt hair is dying with every fart. I lose a hair, but an angel gets its shit. Here's a question for you. So high school, you were in talent shows. I saw pictures, right? You were on stage somewhere, right?
Well, I met Mark Sandrowski when we were 8 years old in third grade.
And his brother?
I met his brother, early on.
What's his brother's name? 5th
or 6th grade. He has two brothers. One is a super hockey player, and one is a photographer. Also, he was a comedian.
Well, what are their names? Is his name Super? Dwight, I remember. They were a comedy team. Dwight. And Mark, for people that don't know, was director of The Big Bang, and now Mom, and he did Full Houses. He's an amazing television director.
He and I have been friends since third grade. So he was my partner in
Dwight
crime.
Also?
I didn't know Dwight until later when I went to Mark's house, and Dwight and Gary, his brothers, were there.
And Gary is a super hockey player?
Gary is a super hockey player.
I'm finding out all this shit I don't know about you. I can't believe I've known you my whole life. You're my brother. And I never knew any of this. So, okay, third grade. Were you doing comedy with Mark then?
Mark was drawing on his notebook, his school notebook, and I had to go up to the front of the class to get my paper from the teacher. And when I walked by, I saw he had drawn all these weird little Martian heads. And I stopped on the way back, and I said, "What are you drawing?" He goes, "Martian heads." And I thought, I'm going to be friends with this kid.
Right.
And so we were friends. So we started writing music and drawing cartoons, and we created Jimmy Booger, Jimmy
Booger's a cartoon, comic book thing.
He's a cartoon, yes. And so we just
by the way,
friends.
he's a piece of snot. He is actually a booger that has a life and friends.
Yes, he lives in Nova Scotia.
Right.
with his mom, who was one of the snodettes at Radio City Mucus Hall.
You know, I never knew she made it that big.
She was, yeah. He's being raised by a single mom, and he wants to be in show business, and that's the adventures of Jimmy Booger.
What is he? Does he have a big?
Mark and I.
Go ahead. Sorry, I wanted to know more about him. Does he hang?
It's all Booger jokes.
Yeah, I know. Does he hang on the wings? Did he ever get picked to be in the show?
He was in the summer stock production of Gone with the Sneeze.
I see. You have an answer for any question Booger related for Jimmy Booger.
Absolutely.
Right.
Or farts.
Farts. When did you find that? Now, people don't know, and everybody asks you to do this, and some people don't enjoy a fart joke. I unfortunately can't stop myself, and whenever I tweet a fart joke, there is no response. I hear crickets from a tweet. But you have a gift. You can fart on cue. You could actually crank your body and make air come out of your ass.
Well, it's not that simple for me, but I do fart impressions. I can do hand fart impressions.
Right, but not when you haven't. For some reason, you always pissed me off because you would say, I haven't shaved, so I can't do the fart impression. And I just don't buy it.
I can today. I could today.
Could you just do a general fart to let people hear?
Yeah.
That's a general fart.
Is the sound good? I usually test the sound.
It's amazing. I mean, I think that mic's going to melt. What I always laughed at forever, because you're one of the funniest people I've ever known, and you can make me cry. What got us through a show that is beloved by a lot of people forever, and actually helped make John and I really good friends, because the first couple of years John and I were, he was a womanizing teen idol a trained actor, and I was a comedian, Jewish neurotic married guy. And so the first couple of years we weren't besties, and now it's like, it's the same as us. But you brought us together, and I think fart sounds. The problem with you is that you actually do fart on a soundstage with children that are level with your ass, and you farted.
Yeah, John always says that I was the one who stunted the Olsen twins' growth.
Well, but they're normal height now, but it was subjective. I don't think that was the healthiest for any of us to inhale. We called it foul house because you would fart and we would leave. We all would leave, and we wouldn't go back into the set. And these were kids. You did this with kids.
Yeah, you have to.
Who else? Because it is natural. Yeah. It is part of everyone. It's one of the first thing a baby does.
I would wait for the right moment, though, when there was a real serious scene and we had to put our serious face on, and then I would fart and make everybody laugh because I'm just immature.
I loved it, but I also hated it because it was really difficult for me to focus, especially if I had like a monologue where I was saying something, and then right in the middle of it, you'd basically, I think, crap your pants. I think several times. There was that one.
I never crapped my pants. I always had a filter.
I don't think so, because I remember you took off your underwear. I think you sharted, and you took off your underwear because it had a stripe in it of shit, and you threw it at stage 24 on top of the other building that was there, the other inside the studio. And
on top of the dressing room.
Yeah, so somebody found that. Some poor.
Yeah, because it wasn't there when we went back on the same stage.
We looked for it. That was the reason you guys did Fuller House. We were looking for Dave's underpants that had been sharded.
That's right. There was a lot of underpants humor. You used to come into my dressing room with your 8x10, and you would show me your 8x10. You'd say, and you'd shut the door. And you'd say, "You see this?" And I'm like, "Yes." And you go, "You see this?" And you'd pull your pants down, and you would take the face of your 8x10 and wipe your ass with the face on your 8x10 and go, "See that?" and then you'd throw it down, crumple it up, throw it down, and you'd walk out.
But I was angry because there was nothing on it. I had a clean butthole, so I would go nothing, because all I wanted to do, I hated my image so much that the Full House 8x10, I wanted to wipe my ass with it because I was so self-loathing, and I had just done a scene that was heartwarming, and then I would go up to my dressing room and wipe my ass for nothing. There was nothing there, so I wasted an 8x10.
Yes. Or you would do your other bit that you would do that always made everyone laugh was you would look for either butter or sour cream or cream cheese, anything
coffee
that was white.
Oh, that one.
And you'd smear white all around your lips, and then you'd turn to everybody and go, I got the job. You guys, I don't know how, but I got the job.
Every comedian I've done that at a restaurant with has taken it. And I don't think I get any credit. I would take a non-dairy creamer in a restaurant, swallow it, and then spit it out, and white cream would come out of my mouth. I got the job. The whole point is to be really excited because I met this producer and he really likes me, and it's just like dripping out. It's just the sheer. Well, it's kind of like the Aristocrats. You know, they'll do anything to get in showbiz, and that's the premise.
Yeah. Well, you and I have that lowest common denominator sense of humor where we know how to make each other laugh like that.
And that's because we haven't had easy lives either.
We've had some tough stuff happen to us, but we would always laugh at it because there's nothing else you can really do.
You saved me a lot. I mean, we've known each other so long. I mean, you were an usher in my wedding to my first wife, Sherry. And
I slept on your couch.
You did? I
was between apartments, and you went on the road, and you had a brand new red Toyota Celica. And you said, Dave, you can sleep on my couch, and while I'm on the road, just use my car. And I thought, either this is the nicest guy in the world,
or he's going to try to
he's the biggest idiot.
Or he's going to try to. He's going to rape me.
In my life.
Well, Mike Binder was a mutual friend at that time when you moved to L.A. And Mike was like the first comedian I ever saw when I came to L.A. I had been flown out because I won that Student Academy Award, and I went to the Comedy Store and I saw Mike. And I went, man, I'd like to do this. And I got up and did my audition with my guitar because I was a guitar act only. And Mitzi said, I was going to go to grad school at USC. Don't go to grad school. Stay here.
Don't get an education.
You belong here. And you know what? I think she was right because I quit after 3 days at USC Film Grad School, so I would have been a great filmmaker by now. And I emceed for 8 years at the Comedy Store, but I got to meet all the people that you got to meet that we loved.
Well, there was a brotherhood, you know. There
and a sisterhood.
And a sisterhood, you know,
and just some hoods.
When you, that's true. That was a whole different part of.
I had mine clipped because I was born in a Jewish hospital. And
so, with Mike, that connection with Mike, it's kind of strange. We're on the Showtime Comedy Store documentary
that Mike directed and produced. And
it's tonight. It starts tonight on Showtime. I'm not sure when this will be running.
It's not running tonight,
but
it's on right now though.
Yes.
People can see it right now, but now they know when we recorded it. They'll be able to set the Wayback Machine, as you would say, from Sherman and Peabody. Can you do Sherman and Peabody just for me?
Well, Sherman, where to today, Mr. Peabody? Well, Sherman, set the Wayback Machine for $14.92. Yes, that was part of my act.
To me, this is the perfect forum for your entire old act. This is like, because it's just you and me talking, and what you would get pissed off with John and me, or I don't know words, but we would always say, we'll do this, and you go, I'm not your comedy jukebox, and then you would do it. you would do all our requests. You go, okay.
All right, I'll do it.
And a lot of the
Well, 'cause it
stuff you
makes you
did,
guys laugh.
a lot of the stuff you did is just so not PC now. It's just
No.
no. Yeah.
Well, I would just go off and I knew how to push your buttons because I know you so well. And I know if I just do a certain thing, it's going to make you just go into immature land with me.
That's the
And
thing.
then John, the same thing.
Yeah.
I can just, he'll say, do this, like cut a fart and kill yourself. Okay, great. All right, I'll do that.
And we would cut ourselves open. I would do, people don't understand that we didn't literally, we mimed it. And I would do the theme from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and you would go, well, how did you cue me on that for me to do that?
I would just start singing the song, and it would just, you would go into action.
So
it started.
And then I would, I would cut open my chest like a cereal box, like the little ones, the Kellogg's little ones.
Yes.
And you'd go down the middle and then do the two up and down. And then I'd open my chest up. And then it was Raiders of the Lost Guts, I think, was one of our.
Yes.
People don't understand. This is a play group thing we did.
Well, it started during our note sessions for Full House.
That I couldn't sit through.
No, you couldn't focus that
Well,
long.
the note was always, Bob, can you be a cheerleader in this scene?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's an action. That's not a note.
So we would get bored during our Full House
And
note
we'd write
sessions.
dicks. We'd write penises on all the strips.
Well, that was you. That was you.
Oh, that was
You would
me.
That was you. You would always write you would always draw a penis on my script. And it was usually when I had something serious coming up in the script.
Because you were doing it to me during taping. You would literally completely bone me while we're taping. I just did it in like a script read or during, if we're at the table, I did it to Scott Weinger on Fuller House. When I was sitting next to him, all I would do is just draw penises right on his important DJ. I think we should be together, DJ. And I would just, every page, he would turn the page, I'd draw another dick. And he turned it, this is 2 years ago. No, it's last year.
Yeah. Wait, it was yesterday. Hold on a second.
Hold on, it's this morning.
Yeah,
hold on, Scott's right here. Look, I've got him below frame.
Our operating system to make each other laugh has not changed. From the moment I met you,
thank God,
I discovered, oh my God, this guy is like me. I can just do the stupidest stuff from my idiot treasure trove that I have, and he's going to laugh at it.
And oddly, Dave, I think one of the secrets of the show was they cast it really well. And they somehow, the stuff that it's always, they say in between the lines, because you can't just say that all the dialogue is like, it's not made for grown-ups, but it was because I think they could tell that there was a playfulness that we had. And if you're watching the show and watching us in the background, like with our pants down or tap dancing, when we had to tap dance.
When we had to tap dance, we did that one, and we couldn't look at the camera. They never got that, and they never got the one line where you and I had to look at each other.
Yeah.
And we were in the set with the pink bunnies on the wall, and we had to look at each other. Was it
Jesse's room? Was it
Jesse
the one?
ran away from. Yes,
it was
Jesse
Jesse's room.
From home.
Yeah, say it again. I keep interrupting you.
The line was Jesse ran away from home, and you and I never got that take.
But
because we laughed so hard.
Was I supposed to say Jesse ran away from home?
I'm not sure who it was, whether it was you or I.
Well,
but one of us had to say Jesse ran away from home.
It was me because I couldn't say it. Because what adult says that? I mean, Rain Man, but I mean, who else would say that? With all due respect, and Jeff Franklin was very upset with me. And that almost got me to say it because I got really serious because I didn't want to upset him, but I couldn't say it. I couldn't look at your face.
Joel Zwick was directing that episode.
Right.
And I still remember that moment so clearly, and we never got the take.
Did he resort to screaming at me also?
We came down and he goes, Saget, both of you. I asked for actors and I get comedians. Neither one of you could act your way out of a paper bag.
and that's going to get me serious.
Say the line.
That's really helps you with your acting.
Yeah, you got Gallagher Jr.
had sex with a crab. I got turtles in bags. To his service, he had a set with everything you're not supposed to work with as an actor. We had everything possible, all the formulas. It would be babies and elderly people and every animal. I remember having a goat, and I was sitting there, and the goat shit on the side of a bucket, and I'm sitting there, and there's a turd, like a lime in a Bloody Mary, just on the side of the glass, and they're saying, "Action, Bob." I said, I can't. There's crap. There's crap, and then I would get in trouble. You know, everybody would like yell at us, me especially.
Yeah, and then Peppermill,
the giant donkey. He just we called him Peppermill. I talked about it in my stand-up. People love it. They love it because his real name was Eeyore, which was very creative of his handlers. But I think he was out of his element, and the air conditioning was blowing, and it just hit his penis, and it got very large in front of the kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we laughed, and then the kids started laughing because they saw what we were looking at, but we tried not to look at it. That didn't go well.
Yeah, we tried really hard.
But I do think, even though I got scolded a lot, more than anyone, for my irreverence, especially a couple times that I wrote about in that book I wrote, Dirty Daddy, but you know, and then people put it in a tabloid now, like but that's just from my book. You know, it's like, but Bob did this. No, yeah, I know, I wrote that. So that's my diary. But and then it took a crap. The donkey took a crap. It's like I got an erection, and then it took a crap. So we
had a lot of actors do that over the years.
Mickey Rooney, may he rest in peace.
Yes.
John took a liking to Mickey Rooney. It was like his friend, his pet friend.
Because of Liza Minnelli and Judy Garland.
Yeah, he wanted to know everything.
Yes.
John's very wonderful and old school that way. He has such reverence for, and I do too, but I have more now. I did for all the comedy people and all the actors I loved, like Jimmy Stewart, I loved at 5 years old, you know, and Donna Reed, I wanted to marry, you know, but and now, no, I've got a wife. I love her. Donna Reed is not alive.
You've gotten to meet like all your heroes, like a lot of your heroes.
You have too, I think. Larry Fine from the Three Stooges. I met him when I was 14, 15, and I didn't try to rip his hair out.
Yeah. Rodney. You became friends with Rodney.
Here's a picture behind me of Rodney and Red Fox. All right, I have a question for you. Which of my online searches does the government have a right to know about? Say I look up hamsters with long legs, or twigs that don't burn because they're organically made of asbestos. You know, things like, what if I'm looking that up? What if it's like sparrows that mate with a goat, but I can't say how? The answer to that question is none of the above. You don't want people searching your stuff, knowing your stuff, and if you have ExpressVPN, you're protected. Without ExpressVPN's protection, though, hackers, governments, ad companies, and ISPs all have full access to your data. They can get in there. You don't want them in there. I don't want them using my web history, God forbid, or video searches against me. That's why I use ExpressVPN every time I go online. Sometimes I do my mail first, but then otherwise, yes. ExpressVPN encrypts and reroutes your web traffic to any number of countries, keeping you safer and secure. Simply download the ExpressVPN app, click to connect, and boom, bam, wham, you're protected. With ExpressVPN, you can make it seem like you're browsing from a different country, so you can watch any Netflix library in the world that you want. How cool is that? That's cool. I said it. I'm not scared. ExpressVPN is the fastest VPN I've tried. It costs less than $7 per month, and it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. It's time to stop governments and internet companies from keeping tabs on your data. Take back your online privacy like I did with ExpressVPN. You can protect your online activity today and find out how you can get 3 months free at expressvpn.com/Bob. That's right. That's ExpressVPN. That's ExpressVPN.com/Bob. And Bob is spelled B-O-B. And you get 3 months free with a 1-year package. Visit expressvpn.com/Bob to learn more. Okay, so I was looking for a long time for a mattress for my daughter that worked. You know, she does a lot of stuff. She does a lot of yoga. She's very fit. She walks, I think about 2,000 miles a day. She doesn't even know what city she wakes up in, but she wears a mask. But she is a really great person, but she couldn't sleep. So I wanted to help her because of all the stress, politics, dramas of life, just going through life right now. Sleeping on a terrible mattress is not great. Before Helix, I was on the road. I can't even sleep on a bed. I almost want to bring the mattress with me, but I can't. I mean, I wanted to be a doctor growing up, and I'm telling you, I would like to be a doctor of sleep without giving people medicine. And the key is to have a very comfortable mattress to lay on. And that's why I got this for my daughter. Helix Sleep does something really special, and they did it, and it worked. They make personalized mattresses made right here in America and shipped straight to your door, and free no-contact delivery with free returns and 100-night sleep trial. That's right, a 100-night sleep trial. Now, to choose a mattress, and I did this with my daughter, so we bonded at the same time, and this is all the goal, is to get her to sleep. Helix made a quiz that takes just 2 minutes to complete and matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. Now, to choose a mattress, my daughter and I did this together online, so we got to bond. Helix makes a quiz that takes just 2 minutes to complete, and we did it. And it matches your body type and sleep preferences for the perfect mattress for you. If you like a mattress that's really soft or firm, or you sleep on your side or your back or your stomach, or you sleep really hot, with Helix, there's a specific mattress for each and everybody's unique taste. Now, I actually sleep like all of those things. I sleep on my back, my side, my stomach. I sleep hot. I sleep cold. I do all those things because I do calisthenics while I sleep. That's how I go through the night. My daughter took the quiz, and we were matched with the perfect model Helix mattress because she wanted something that felt medium, and she sleeps a lot on her back, and she moves around all night, all that stuff. And you know what? She loves it. She's sleeping better. She falls asleep right away. She's more rested. She's just really happy. If somebody stays with her, they just don't. I don't allow it. One thing she loved about Helix was delivery was quick and easy. And I recommended it to all my friends and all my family or anybody that'll listen to me. I'll just stand outside and talk about it. I love Helix, but you don't need to take my word for it. Helix was awarded the #1 best overall mattress pick of 2020 by GQ, Wired Magazine, and Apartment Therapy. That ain't no small potatoes. Just go to helixsleep.com/Bob, take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they will match you to a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. They have a 10-year warranty, and you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. They'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it, but you will. And right now, Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders. That's all of them, $200 off. Get up to $200 off at helixsleep.com/Bob. And I'm telling you, you're going to sleep, and you're going to like it, and you're going to thank me in your sleep if you talk in your sleep. Jeremy Kramer, a friend of mine, when you would talk to Robin Williams, we know too many dead people is the problem, and Robin was the holy grail of one of the best people. And I remember when I first met him, he had seen you and me the same night at the Comedy Store. And you had just come to town. And he'd already tried to figure me out. He said, so your mother's Gumby and your father's Pokey and you're Mr. Potato Head? I don't do good impressions of him. You do. And I went, yeah. He went, okay. And then he
came up to me, saw my set, and Argus said, hey, Robin's here. Robin's here. He wants to talk to you.
Yep.
And then I walked off stage from the original room and went down in the hallway, and Robin was there, and he saw me. He started going, oh. And then he went into this old man character and started talking to me. He said, come walk with me, son, walk with me. And he took me back to the bar, the table back by the bar, which is still there. And he sat and he talked to me for about a half hour. And I thought, this is the biggest comedy star on the planet. and he's talking to a 20-year-old, and giving me encouragement. And I thought, I never forgot that. I thought, wow, what an incredible thing for a young comedian to experience, the biggest comedy star on the planet, just giving me a shot in the arm. He didn't know me from Adam,
No, he did. He did. He was a genius, right? So he saw you.
Yeah.
He said to me, "So your friend." I'm doing a bad impression. I shouldn't do it, but I have no choice. Not an impression. I'm just trying to. He said, "Your friend that Dave. He's a winged angel. He's got a light. He's got a light." I went, "Yeah, I know." He said, "Yes." I said, "He's going to be a big star." And you were 20.
It was. We were there at a magical time. It really was magical. Not just for us, but because of the people that we got to share the stage with nightly.
And that's what's in Mike Binder's Comedy Store Showtime series. That's what's in there.
Yeah, Leno, Letterman, and then
Letterman was an MC. He was one of my first MCs.
It's just crazy, the amount of people. And then you and I were there at the same time when we got to see these waves of new people come out. Larry Miller and Jimmy Brogan and Jerry Seinfeld.
And they'd already been
Jim
established
Carrey.
in New York. They'd already done the work. So by the time they came out, after just 2 or 3 years of doing it, or maybe 4 or 5, I don't know, some started at 17, but they were seasoned already. So when the New Yorkers came out here, or San Francisco, Robin had been in San Francisco a long time. I was going to talk about Jeremy Kramer from San Francisco, who would...
Dana Carvey.
I love him so much.
Dana and Bob Goldthwait, Bobcat.
Yeah.
There was a whole... It was Michael Pritchard.
Yeah.
There was that whole San Francisco scene, and then you had the guys in Chicago when we first started out. And
that was Tom Dreesen. And Tim from Barney Miller. What's his name? He was on Barney Miller. He was actually Dreesen's partner for a while.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He's such
I can see
a
both
good comedian, such a good guy.
Yeah. But the people we got to share that stage with nightly, and you know what? It helped us because you couldn't follow Seinfeld or Robin Williams or Gary Shandling or Howie. You had to be great after them.
Yeah, you had to
go up and just kind of lay off. You had to throw your fastball.
You had to aim for all fences.
Pitch.
Yeah.
Yep. And it made us stronger. It made us, and I was a kid. I had braces on my teeth,
I never looked at your mouth. How do you like that?
It was that's not what you said.
Well, I never looked at it. Who wants to look at it while we're doing that?
So, that wasn't me. That was a motorcycle going by.
I didn't hear it, but if you shit your pants, I wouldn't care.
I wouldn't either.
Well, when you think about that, and then how I was there hosting, and I continued for a long time trying to get a show, and did the Richard Pryor movie, Critical Condition. That was one of my first breaks after Rodney Dangerfield's Young Comedian special. And then what's amazing, I want to share with people, some people don't know this, but we've talked about it before, is that I got to be in that movie with Richard and got to be friends with him from the Comedy Store, and then even more so from that film. But then Richard didn't want to do the looping, the ADR, for television. And people don't know that it's so weird because the punch-ups on the script were our friend Chris Thompson's, who we lost last year. Really tragic and sad that he's gone. And I have a lot of unrequited relationships. That one and
Chris was. I always explain Chris. He was wonderfully insane.
He just didn't take care of himself, and
no, yeah,
we had
he didn't have an off switch. He really didn't have an off switch.
Well, it's people in pain, and people turn to drugs and alcohol when they're in pain, and I think I did. I went to Pleasure Island with him. I never went to college. I lived at home in the apartment that you stayed in with Chris Thompson at my parents' apartment. And the night before I was to get married at 26 years old, you guys, we went to some bar, and then my bachelor party, you guys got out of the back seat of my car, and I didn't know, but your pants were down, both of you, with your dicks out, and you walked into my parents' apartment building in the elevator, and I was scolding you both like a school marm. What's wrong with you? My parents, they're going to wake up. And then we went into the house, and then your pants were still down in my parents' apartment by the train tracks, and you pulled up your pants, and then I yelled at you both, and we all went to bed separately. I think I double locked the door that night. And then the next morning, my dad said, there was a disruption at the apartment complex. Apparently last night, 2 guys came in with their pants down. Did you tell him? How did he know that?
I don't know. I don't know how
Chris
your dad
tell him?
knew that. I don't know. I just know that we were in such euphoria that you were getting married.
We were drunk.
We were drunk. And if you remember, we were on a train. I think we were going from Philly into New York, weren't we? We took a train, and the train stopped, and we looked out the window, and there was a zipper factory, and there was a hand on a zipper, and we thought, of all the places the train would stop, it would be in front of a zipper factory. I don't know if you remember that, but
I don't.
We laughed so hard. We laughed so hard at this giant zipper. There was a hand, and the zipper was down.
It was a
It was
Homan.
a giant sign. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I feel so unrequited in a couple relationships, and one is Chris Thompson. And
Yeah.
I feel like I could have done more. I feel like I wasn't the friend I wanted to be because he was mean to me. And he was mean because I wasn't his friend anymore, because I couldn't be around abusive behavior. But I loved him. I still love him.
And he was brilliant. He was a brilliant writer.
And producer. He did shows like Action.
He created Bosom Buddies.
He did.
Tom Hanks and Peter Scolari. That was like his first show.
And I did the warm-up for that. And
yes,
I did the warm-up because of Chris. And I met Chris because Gary Shandling said, there's a guy in the bathroom you should be friends with at the Comedy Store. And I went in the bathroom, and he was doing cocaine and off of the sink. And he'd be okay with this story. That's the only reason I'm telling it. And I said, hi, I'm Bob. He said, oh, I'm Chris. Do you want any? I went, no, I'm going to go on. And because I didn't really partake before I went on. And I only did it for 2 years straight. But he was my Pleasure Island friend. You know, it was Pinocchio going to, and I never had any college craziness. You know, I was a kid living at home. And we were very close with Gary. Very close. He was the first person I became friends with in stand-up in L.A. That's my other hugely unrequited thing, which is in Judd Apatow's brilliant documentary about Gary. And we were very close, the three of us. You were staying on my couch in an apartment, my little crappy apartment in Palms, which I moved out of because a guy threw a shotgun in the pool. And I woke up the next morning, there was a shotgun in the pool, and I heard fighting all night. And I went, I gotta leave this building.
And George Wallace dropped a turkey on Thanksgiving one year.
That's right. And I had the turkey. I had George on this podcast, and we talked about that. You fucking idiot. You put the stuff, I put the giblets in the newspaper. I cooked the turkey with all that shit in there because I knew nothing. And our friend Gary Wagner, who I need to touch base with really bad. Have you talked to him?
Not in a long time.
I got to call him. I love him. That's the problem, is that we drop out of communication with people that mean a lot to us. And I'm guilty of that.
Well, it's our bubbles, you know. You have everything in your bubble, whether it's family or friends or life commitments, marriages, relationships,
divorces.
And you only have 24 hours in a day.
We went through many exes together.
We went through
X
only
together.
So many hours. Yeah.
No, mushrooms. Sorry, mushrooms.
Well, I want to talk about that story too, but it's just a matter.
Oh, you know what? I got to take a break. We're going to take a quick commercial. break. I
All right.
have some sponsors.
Okay.
Here they come. Okay, we're back.
Okay.
That was a short break, but a good one. Wow. Okay, so go about the relationships and the bubbles and how we don't reach out. Because I'm missing Gary Wagner, who was living
my bubble
in my building too, in that apartment.
I want to talk about your apartment too. Some of the things we saw. So,
that's a different one
in Hollywood.
That's a different one, right?
We have amazing stories that are really
we're about
funny
to
that
tell
people don't know about. But my bubble keeps getting smaller and smaller, and I've wanted to move back to Michigan for a very long time because
why
I
is
just
that?
feel like,
I mean, does it make you feel? But I want you like in showbiz on a show because I just know how fucking funny you are, and I that's what I want. But you don't really have to live here to do that. But you kind of do to meet with people. But right now you don't. Zoom is like the way to go. So
yeah, I'm Zooming people. I Zoomed Warner Brothers this week. Amy Friedman and Adina Pitts, two wonderful ladies from Cartoon Network. And, most of my I'm with a new company, Invent TV, and they're in Burbank. And I'm here, and I produced a show called Uncle Dave's Laugh Emporium. And I wrote it and produced it and shot it here in Detroit. It's all on green screen. And so, life continues and work continues. It's just a different way of working now and a different way of meeting with people. And, and what I was saying earlier is my bubble continues to get smaller just
because... But
your
balls get bigger. They hang.
Balls definitely get bigger. Yeah.
Do they ever hit the toilet water? That's everybody always says that joke.
I don't have that problem.
Yeah, mine are a little compartment. Mine are like a change purse.
Yeah.
And they jingle.
Johnny Dark's act. Here, change purse.
Oh, I love Johnny Dark.
Johnny Dark. But it's just there's only so many hours in a day, and our lives are, like everybody's. You have so many things to do and such, small amount of time to do it. And I just find my world, getting smaller. The people that are really important to me are important in that I give them as much time as I can. And then, a lot of relationships kind of just fade, and you realize sometimes I'll have those sober moments where I'll go, wait a second, I have to call this person. So my new rule in life is whenever I think of somebody, I call them right then.
Yeah, you're completely right. You're completely right. So when we're done, I'm going to call Gary because I love him. And I have, and then it's the unrequited stuff. And we were so close. I was so close with Shantling, with Gary. I don't know why I'd have to say Gary because I think Shanling, there isn't another one on the planet. And I still love him a lot. And then I was in the middle of that thing with our manager, Brad Gray, and Gary. And I love Brad a lot. And so it was like a divorce that I was in the middle of. And I think I'd like a do-over on some of the things that happened. But near the end, at Chris Thompson's funeral, Gary and I connected on a real level. I just started talking about my dick, and Gary started talking about his, and it was like, why couldn't we have done this 10 years earlier? Yeah. And it was like, well, I have a little mole on mine, and I said, yeah, I cut mine off. I just cut it off. And you know what? It didn't bother me. I didn't Novocaine it. We just, don't miss a beat. Nobody smiles. We just talk about it as serious as we could. And then I said, is this your number? And he took out his iPhone and it was all cracked. It was like a 4.1 or whatever. And he was like, so that's not my number. What do you don't have a hyphen. And I fixed his number. I called him. And I was about to go see him, and then he got really sick. So it kind of was, life's very strange, you know. It's very, very strange because I loved him. He was immensely funny. And then there was a shitstorm because of, you know, things that were, I don't know. I don't even want to talk about it because it is what it is. But let's talk about the fun things we did with Gary. And you do impressions of Gary and you do impressions of Brad. Back in the day before all the you know, the wrenches got thrown in, it was funny as shit. We had nothing. Gary had his house on Tierra in Encino. And you were living in Westwood?
I was probably living over in North Hollywood by then. After Westwood.
Well, first you stayed at my apartment, and we called
lived
Gary.
At Crest Hill.
Where?
I lived at Crest Hill,
which is
the house behind the Comedy Store,
which is Mitzi's house.
And then I moved. Yeah, I moved to Gailey Avenue in Westwood, and that's where the bum was jerking off in the alley. And you came over to look.
Well, I came over too late. You called me and said, Bob, there's a bum jerking off. We didn't have texting then. Sorry, kids, it didn't happen. They called. By the way, people are on this podcast thinking they're going to hear Joey and Danny.
Well, we had a long life before Joey and Danny.
So we're watching a bum jerk off. So you called me and said a bum is jerking off behind my apartment building, and I said I'm getting in my car. we had no lives, none. We just lived to go on that night. We would do the Comedy Store. I would do the Improv some, but mainly Comedy Store, and we did Westwood a lot, which was a great club. And wow. And when I got to your house, it was kind of like the 8x10 that didn't have crap on it. It was like, you went, he's gone. I'm like, fuck. You know, it was like serious. I was legitimate.
You were upset. Yeah, you were upset. I understand.
I was 23.
Right.
I don't know. My nephew Adam called me. He was living in an apartment building off of Sunset. And he called me up and he said, this was about 8 years ago, 10 years ago. And he said, there's a there's a homeless guy jerking off on the bench in front of my building. And I said, well, you got to take a picture or something? He went, no, but I watched him for a while. I said, what? I said, what do you mean you watched him for a while? Why did you watch him? And then he described to me what he was doing. And I said, Adam, maybe you should, think about where your feelings are, But he is a womanizer.
Well, and speaking of the life that you and I had way before Danny and Joey, you and I did mushrooms. You remember that?
No, yeah, I do.
And I did mushrooms.
I didn't know what they were, and we took them, and then I got in the car to drive us to the beach.
Well, and you said, hey, Dave, you want to do mushrooms with me? And I said, sure, Bob. No thought. Just, yeah, I'll be with Bob.
Let's get in the car. Because you put them on a pizza.
We drove in your Toyota Celica, your red Toyota Celica, down to Santa Monica Beach. And I remember we came over the hill near the ocean on, was it Pico? I think we were on Pico.
Wherever it was, the sky would turn to orange.
We came over the hill and we saw the ocean, and it hit both of us. And I remember looking over at you. We both started laughing uncontrollably.
I said, I remember saying, I shouldn't have driven. This was a mistake. I didn't know. Oh my God, Dave, help me. I've got to park this car. So people shouldn't do this. You do not take a drug and then get in a car. You should be in bubble wrap.
This would have been was it 83?
I think it was 1812. It was
1812.
Yeah, it might have been 1980 or 81. It was early.
81.
Yeah, I was young to do something that stupid.
And so we were two idiots on mushrooms, and we sat on the beach for about 9 hours with no sunblock on. And I had bubbles on my back the next day because I was so cooked. And I remember we wanted to call Mitzi Shore and tell her how much we loved her.
Because she was doing so much for us.
Yeah.
And she was at
She was
that time.
helping us.
She was.
Yeah.
That was before she told me I wasn't funny anymore in Vegas.
And she told me I wasn't funny in Vegas too. She called my room.
And when I look at it, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
At 4 a.m, she called my room, and Tom Wilson and Finest Henderson opened, and I headlined, and they added a show, so no one knew to come to the show. So Mitzi was there in the back of the room with Alan Stevens and Mitchell Walters and whoever else was in her
Pick a
group.
card.
And
Tricorder.
and they sat back there and watched my set, and all three of us bombed because there was no one in the audience. And then Mitzi called me at like 4 a.m. I'm sending you home. You don't have it anymore. And I said, oh, okay. So that's fine. And that was the last time I ever played at the Comedy Store.
Yeah. I heard it from her.
Show.
Go ahead.
I did the Tonight Show the following Thursday with Johnny Carson.
Right.
And I thought, well, I guess I have to leave this place and go on to other things, because if she doesn't think I'm funny, I'm not going to get spots. So I'll go on the road. And then I went on, that was 1984. And I hosted a series on Nickelodeon called Out of Control.
And it was great. And you were great in it.
Oh, I look back at it now. The people from Nickelodeon they sent me DVDs of the entire series, and I look at it. I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I was a little kid.
As Robin said, you were a winged angel.
I don't know what I was, but
you had the Sting haircut.
I did. Yeah, I had the hockey haircut, and and I went on the road. Then I really just focused on doing stand-up.
Yeah, we were all you and I were both on the road all the time. Yeah. I mean,
and we would follow each other into clubs, and Bob was here last week, and he did 2.5 hours.
I was insane. Rich Scheidner would do 2 hours. I did 2 hours and 45 minutes in Pittsburgh. I'm like, really? Well, I'm going to do 3 hours. And that's a comedian. I mean, and then you heard about, Dane Cook and Dave Chappelle in the past 10 years where, Dane was competing to do more time. Who could do the world's record of the most stand-up? And then Chappelle was 7 hours or something. It's pretty amazing what a stand-up, if you take it to that level. And I think we did go to that level when we started. I needed to bore a hole into stand-up. And it was a release for me. I didn't have therapy. I was out of my mind. I was neurotic as fuck. And I got a release. I was just talking to Howie Mandel about it on something this morning for Just for Laughs about mental health and about stand-up and how we do comedy and why we do it. And he said, nothing gets you in the moment more than that, than a live performance, obviously.
Yeah.
Or working in any kind of performance or anything that requires your first responder, your alertness. But that's what draws people to these fields is, one, they care about people, not necessarily comedians, but people that really mean a lot. Not that comedians don't, but doctors, nurses, right now in our lives, first responders, police officers, the firefighters, all these unsung heroes, they live in that adrenaline moment and they get so much back, but they're risking their lives. We didn't risk our lives except with hecklers, but now we would risk our lives going back once it's safe to perform again. The world is so angry in so many ways. I'm hoping that we get through this time where they're not angry, where you get to go entertain people and you don't have to go, oh God, waiting for security to have to stop a real problem. And I was before COVID happened, I was performing and I had some people start beating each other up in the audience because people were already at each other. The pressure cooker was already happening.
Yeah.
2-3 years ago, I felt it, and it dealt with politics, and it dealt with money, and it dealt with just what was happening, and it racism and anger and all this stuff was just happening. So I was trying to diffuse it.
Yeah.
God, I've got so many thoughts in my head. Let's take one more break because I've got like 20 things I want to talk to you about, and we both are probably going, well, how long is this going to go? Well, it's going to go longer. You're okay. You don't have to go to the thing yet, right? You got a little time?
I'm good. Yeah, I moved our time, so we're good.
Okay, we'll be right back. Yo. These days, it seems like people are putting CBD in everything. I do. I put it in cupcakes, chickens. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of noise about it, but there's one company from Vermont that's worth the hype. CBD is kind of interesting. It does a lot of stuff. You can put it in things. You can, anything you want. You look it up. You can use it for a lot of stuff. I put it on, well, I can't tell you. Sunsoil makes CBD oil that is USDA certified organic. CBD is made from hemp plants, right? So how the hemp is grown really matters. Sunsoil farms their hemp in Vermont, and they never use pesticides, herbicides, or GMOs. Simple ingredients are in there. I try to be mindful about what I'm putting on my body, and that's why I love Sunsoil. It's made from simple ingredients that I can pronounce, and I can't pronounce much. Many of their products contain coconut oil and hemp. That's it. All right? So that's what I appreciate about it. I like things that are organic. I like things that make me feel good. I like things that are healthy, that aren't a gateway to stronger stuff and stronger coconut oils. Anyway, they got fair prices because Sunsoil farms their hemp and makes their CBD oil in-house. Their prices are less than half the price of other brands. So you get organic CBD at unbeatable prices. Okay, Sunsoil makes CBD oil with simple organic ingredients. Get 30% off your first order by going to sunsoil.com/Bob. That's right. That's sunsoil.com/Bob. That's B-O-B. I'm Bob. For 30% off your first order. That's 30% off your first order at sunsoil.com/Bob. All right, we're back. That was the last break we have to take. We can talk as long as you say. So, how's your penis? Is it changed?
It's really happy.
There's a really smile. The hole's a smile.
You always used to say my little pea slit is a smile.
But it depends on what angle you're looking at it, because that could be a frown.
Upside down. Turn it upside down. I always
said in my stand-up, you turn that frown upside down, because that's my stand-up. Yeah. That's my comedy, and I would call it a pea slit. And then I said it's actually called a urethra, because people don't know that. And then I said, who's also one of my favorite singers, may she rest in peace. And then everybody moans and gets sad. And I said, yeah. And then I sing Respect for a moment or two, and because I truly did worship her, and it's horrible that I mentioned her in that context, which is kind of what our friendship was based on, was saying the worst thing you could say. How do you get through stuff? How do we get through things?
And for us, that was our way of getting through losing sisters and family members, and it was gallows humor for sure. It was always the elephant in the room, but you and I would say
hey, that's the way to talk about my mom.
And we knew that the people we were talking about would laugh at what we were saying.
Yeah, I'm very careful about that.
I always say, my sister Sharon, a week before she died, always said, and she loved you. She thought you were so funny.
I loved her too.
My sister Sharon was one of the funniest people I've ever known. And she would say to me the week before she passed away, she said, Dave, Mom is just coming in here with her rosary and Dad's throwing holy water on me. They're nuts. She goes, can you just make jokes about me after I'm dead? And I said, yeah, what do you want me to say? She goes, just tell people I'm taking a dirt nap, or, I don't look very good now. She goes, she goes, you can do that little song, a tisket, a tasket, Sharon's in a casket. And I said, okay, sure, I'll do that. So I always, when I'm making jokes about my sister, people always think, oh, how could you do that? I said, look, this is at the request of my sister. She wanted me to joke about her being dead. So,
Yeah,
for
that's
some
an easy.
people, it's hard to understand.
Yeah,
But for us, we always did that because it's our way of dealing with pain.
it's how my dad dealt with it. When you're Jewish, you have a shiva. When you're not, you can have a wake or many other ceremonies, depending on your faith and belief. Some people have none.
If you're dead, you're gonna shiver.
It's very cold at a shiva.
Yeah.
But were you at any of my sister's shivas?
I was at Gay's.
Gay had scleroderma, and Andy died at 34 of a brain aneurysm and had mental health issues. And she was.
Do you remember what you said to me at Gay's funeral?
No.
I went there, and you came and got me.
Were you a pallbearer?
And I
think you were.
Were me and Chris pallbearers?
Yeah,
I think
you were.
Me and Chris Thompson.
Gary?
Was it Wags? Wags or Shanling?
I think they both were.
We were.
Yeah, you all were.
Yeah, we were pallbearers, and so, you came and got me. I was sitting in the synagogue, and you came and got me, and you said, "Hey, come here. You want to see a dead body?" And I said, "Sure, Bob. Okay." And you took me back, and you showed me Gay. He goes, and you whispered in my ear, "She looks like shit."
Yeah, they don't always do them right. Well, I spent a lot of time in funeral parlors, right? So when my mom passed a few years ago, my mom Dolly, so I walk in first before my kids who wanted to see her, and sometimes I wish they hadn't, because she's the matriarch of the family, and the same thing happened for my nephew and my ex-wife Sherry, and I mean, it was, it's a big monumental thing when you lose someone like that. But then I click into this overdrive of weirdness because it's my defense and it protects me. And it also allows me to go, okay, because my mom, when you and Stamos, I'm saying that to make people understand quicker, but when you and John came to her hospital room when she was in hospice at St. John's, which was, she wanted, "Get me a nice sweet, Bobby. Would you like a cappuccino, Dave?" I was like, "No, I just want to say goodbye to you." And then she was so excited you guys were coming, men, and she put makeup on.
Did I come with John?
Yes.
And you were already there?
Yes.
Yeah.
She was so excited. She put makeup on. I said, "They're not going to sleep with you, Mom. They're just going to, But if you recall, she was, and I just talked to Howie about this, she was angelic. She was so at peace with...
Do you remember what I said?
Please. Oh, yes. Yes.
John and I walked in, and your mom was there. She had her hands like this, folded, and you were there.
And she did have a halo around her. She really did. It was in the picture. It was
amazing.
It was real.
Well, she had this glowing expression on her face, and I don't know if she was just that happy that me and John were coming to see her.
She was, and she was totally at peace, David. She was never like that her whole life. She had such a hard life,
and you could feel it when you walked into her room. And so I walked in, and me and John both, and we gave her a kiss on the cheek, and she hugged both of us. And I stood back, and I go, "My gosh, Dolly, you look like an angel." And she goes, "Not yet."
She was so clear. Talk about clarity.
Yeah, she was so at peace.
And she lost 4 children in her life because there were twins before I was born that the hospital killed. They killed 14 babies or something with dysentery and didn't tell the parents. You know how people keep medical secrets?
You have their number?
They closed the hospital because all the people sued. My parents didn't sue. And the boy was named Robert and born exactly to the day 2 years before me. So you're special, Bobby. I would hear that a lot. I was like, one time she said to me, Bobby, you're so amazing. You can do anything. I said, Mom, please, I'm not Jesus. She went, no, you're better than Jesus. I went, oh, Mom, no. And then, Johnny Dare in Kansas City?
Of course,
he's a sweetheart. We love him.
Yeah.
He's a very well-known radio man there and a dear friend. And I told that story on the air, and a huge amount of his audience are Christian, good, God-fearing people. And I told that story, and every time I talked to him, anytime I was in studio with him, which I always do when I go to Kansas City, he would always have people call up, and all the sweet ladies call and go, oh, Bob, you're better than Jesus. And it just brings my mom back, in that way that it's the Jewish mother complex, the whole Oedipus thing that happens where she just, your parents also were so encouraging, and my parents were too. That's what I was going to say. Your dad with all of his stuff was so proud of you. Your mom was so proud of you.
My mom way more than my dad. My dad couldn't understand it. And here's the funny story about my dad. My dad worked at Chrysler his whole life. He was very blue collar, but it always amazed all of us looking back at our lives in retrospect. He put all four of us kids through private schools. I played travel hockey almost my whole life, which was expensive. And I remember my dad, we had a party one year because my dad made $21,000.
Oh,
and that was in the 60s. And $21,000 in, where I grew up, my dad really thought he made it. And I don't know how he put four kids through private schools.
Yeah.
We always had food on the table. We always had clothes. I was playing travel hockey, which it's expensive. And so, but I always had new skates and sticks and gloves and helmets, and it's not a cheap sport. It's an expensive sport. But I look back at my dad, and he was so blue collar, and then he couldn't understand what I was doing in LA. And then the first
you were taking mushrooms with me on the beach and watching bums jerk off
and dropping turkeys on Thanksgiving with giblets stuck inside the paper. So he couldn't understand it. And then I did the Tonight Show, and then he understood. He was like, wow. And then I didn't hear from him. I didn't hear any reaction, no call, nothing for a couple of days. And because he couldn't process it, he couldn't. But everybody called him, all my aunts and my uncles, and they said, oh, we saw Dave on the Tonight Show last night. And I didn't know how proud he was. But then I finally called him and I said, how you doing, Dad? I'm good. What's up? I said, well, what did you think? About what? I said, the Tonight Show. What did you think? Oh, yeah, I saw it. And I had to pull everything out of him, He goes, well, when do you go? Are you going back next week, or how does that work? I said, no, I don't go there and punch the clock and go, hi, Johnny, I'm back, ready for work. He goes, well, did they invite you back? And I go, well, maybe they will. He goes, did you smart off? Did you say something stupid?
Were you sassy?
I said, no. He goes, well, you can sometimes, you think that comedy stuff is so funny, and maybe they didn't think you were that funny. And I go, well, Dad, I'll see. But he couldn't.
That's his life. That's his life experience. That's how all they can do is put that into.
Yeah.
But your mom got it.
Oh, my mom saved every little, from local newspaper clippings.
My mom had a file on you. I found it.
Really?
She had a file on clippings from the beginning, from the very beginning. She had files on Gary. She had files on Gary, on Brad, on you.
Wow.
She had files where she kept all the clippings of the people that were my brothers that she was proud of.
I never knew that. And then my mom was so proud when I was on the cover of TV Guide, because she got to go to the supermarket, and she just would stand there in the line like extra amounts of time and go, "That's my son." And she was so proud of that, because there it was, you know, it was all encapsulating in her life, where she could go to the supermarket or the drugstore and see me with Mary Kate and Ashley on the cover
Right.
of TV Guide. And that was a big,
I have a
back then,
copy of that here. I have a copy in my closet. My mother had
and then
two. I was on it twice. My mother had those covers on her wall framed. I'm like, I have them here after she passed. But I'm not hanging them up. Some people would put them in their office. I can't.
Yeah.
There's very few pictures of me in this house.
Yeah, I don't have anything up. The only thing I have is the woodchuck puppet, and that means something.
I hate that
different
fucking
to me.
that fucking woodchuck.
Yeah.
Is your dick made of wood?
Why, certainly. But my dad, you know, my parents were proud in their own way. They just, you know, they expressed it differently. Then I found out my dad was like the mayor. Every restaurant he would go to, he would bring my 8x10s. And then he would promise the wait staff a picture from me here locally in St. Clair Shores, Michigan. And then I'd come home and he'd go, "Here, sign it, Dave Coulier." And I would always go, "Well, what else am I going to sign it, Dad?"
I have one more question I have to ask you, and I'll let you go because I know you have things to do, and I'm going to call Gary, and then I think I have to urinate. I'm not sure. I'm
You can go. I mean, if you do it.
No, I've got a catheter. I don't. It's not a real one. I made it myself.
I went to catheter school my whole life.
You did. You wore those little skirts. Those little
St. Peon.
Those outfits. They're hot. Was there any moment during Full House, or not Fuller House, because we all just kind of showed up and did what we did there, and it was good to see everybody when we did. And you directed you did a great job. You're a great director.
Thanks.
But were there any times, because you know me, I was a little nuts, and I would get a script and I'd go, "Oh God, I'm not doing anything," or I'm not funny. I'm not, you know, and I didn't understand, you know, that the tree had opened up and it's going to last, because I was getting ridiculed so much, you know, because the show didn't get rave reviews, and I was the guy that was all squeaky clean and nice and hugging people, and people were making fun of me. And yet I was on this show that we were on that was top 10 show that was this huge sensation that'll never go away until the Earth's destroyed, which is soon. But but were you ever frustrated playing Joey? Because you seemed to be and John would go, "Got to fix this. This has to be right. You know, Jesse wouldn't do this." And I'd be going, "Danny's the father. Why does he have the baby?" You know, I would be doing that, and I would try to go into character. But I never really heard you ever disgruntled, because actors complain whether they're working or not working. You know,
it was such a gift. The way I felt about Full House was that it was such an amazing gift to have this giant toy box to go to every week with props, and you could, you know, and the writers were very generous with me. You know, sometimes in the script it would say, you know, "Dave will come up with something here." And so they always wanted me to add a weird voice, or they let me come up with "cut it out," and they put that in.
I'm not familiar with that.
Run-through.
I'm not.
Yeah.
What is that?
I did that. I did that in a run through, and they said, "What was that weird little hand thing you did?" And I said, I stole it from Mark Sandrowski, and I always told Mark I was going to steal that and use it for something.
He should get
so Mark
some
always tells me
money on the meme.
Yeah. So, so for me, it was this incredible gift, and I thought of it like it was comedy college. I thought, wow, they're going to pay me to learn how to be a funny person on camera. And I have this incredible world of resources where if I wanted a prop, if I wanted a woodchuck, I could go and build a woodchuck. If I created something, you know, whether it was a character or a voice or the silly mannequin in the alcove, I could do it. And so it was this wonderful freedom to be able to have on television. And so for me, I just thought, well, I'm going to come into the scene. I'm going to do something hilarious and exit. And so my job was very clear cut in my head. It was like, go in, be funny, and get out.
Well,
You know,
as part of the cast, and we've all stayed close, all of us. And
it's amazing.
and there's true love there, and sometimes you don't talk to each other as much, and then other times we do. And there's a text trail you wake up to some morning, and you end up singing for a dog video, and but you're kind of the glue to me in a way, in that you're sticky and you won't come off my mouth. But no, what I'm saying is you really did bring joy to that set. And when stuff was going on, when you're on a show like that, and it's a giant cast, you were kind of a bridge between the kids and John and myself. And you really were kind of the thing that started the love, And then about 4 years in, I started to realize, and John always knew that it was there. But I think as we did the show longer, I felt more and more real love for everybody. And there was something that you started. You were kind of, to me, the person that made it a joyful place. And here I was being able to be with you on a show that I got cast in after you'd already done the pilot. And that was really strange, that here I was being put in a show that you were already cast in. So some things are bigger than we understand, I think.
Bob, you'd kill yourself if I wasn't here.
You did say that to me a lot. And one time I spit gum in your hair. I'm sorry about that.
Yes, you did.
Why did I do that?
Said I had to cut it out.
And I did. I took scissors and I cut it out of your hair. And you were so mad. You were so mad at me.
Well, you spit gum in my hair.
Well, now it's dangerous.
Who does that?
Well, droplets.
Who does that?
Well, I did it.
Who does that?
I'm sure it's been done before. I'm sure there's some people that do that. Hockey players must do stuff like that.
I've never seen it, but I know that you did it.
You just kept saying, I think about 40 times, you spit gum in my hair.
It was incredulous.
Well, but you would fart in your hand and cup it and then put it into our face. So what's so different?
Doesn't?
Nobody.
No one's ever done that?
No.
You've never done that?
No one's cupped a fart, Dave.
You've never farted in your hand?
No, I'm not Phil. I don't eat poop, Dave. That was a good one. I'd rate that a 7.
Everybody cups farts at some point.
When you would fart sometimes, I'd go, so that was roast beef you had for lunch? I would do that. That was my...
And then I would say, Bob, your sense of smell is uncanny.
You did. You did. Yeah. After you literally shat your pants.
Yeah. I should have been named William Shatner.
Dave, I love you so much.
I love you too. And I hope someone watches this.
Or it's mainly a listening. It's mainly a listening medium, but it is on the YouTube page. But it's also it's mainly all the places you get your podcasts. So people will hear this. They'll be driving in their car and say, "Oh, I'm going to listen to Danny and Joey," and then it's going to be about shit and farts and
Do I need to apologize for anything?
Nope. I'll do that up front.
Okay. Good.
I'll tell people that this isn't going to be Danny and Joey.
This is Bob and Dave being very candid and honest with each other.
Which has to do with cupping farts and dealing with death.
And bums.
And bums.
And you can't say bums. You have to say homeless guy.
No, I think bums is better because it takes us back to the 60s. Homeless makes you sad because we have to do something about that.
Yeah.
But bums, that's okay because that's from the 50s. Oh, God in heaven. Well, I love you so much.
I love you. I miss you.
I know.
I don't know when I'm going to see you.
Well, we'll see.
I don't want to get on a plane.
No.
Unless I'm flying it.
Have you been flying lately?
I sold my airplane. I'm looking for another one. So I want something bigger, higher, and goes faster.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Well, just be safe. I need you to be safe in those planes, because I was in a plane with you once, and the landing gear wouldn't go down in the Bonanza, and I was talking so much into the microphone. You said to the tower, "I've got a very chatty passenger," and Bob, you have to stop talking. And you were so not Dave. I didn't know who it was. It was a guy talking numbers, and we got a problem with the landing gear. So, hey, Bob, would you mind reaching back there and turning that crank? And I'm like, what? What is this? It's the wrong brothers. So I cranked the wheels down, and I was thinking, you're going to die, Bob. You're dead. We're going to die. And you landed it perfectly.
Well, I love aviation. I've flown jets. I've been in F-18s.
And your son's a big old pilot. Is he able to fly now, or is it just kind of quiet?
Oh, no, my son is a my son is a
my flan is ready.
Yes, my flan is cooking at the moment. But my son Luke is a pilot for FedEx, so he's flying all over the planet. They said, "Dad, it's great. The boxes don't drink." So, but he's flying 767s.
Wow.
And he's based out of Memphis. He's getting married in May.
That's fantastic.
To a great girl who's a nurse, and he's a great kid. I did something right.
You did. You're a great dad to him.
His job.
You really are.
Yeah.
I've known him since he was born.
He does everything I did. You know, he's a pilot and he plays hockey.
He does not do everything you did. People just listen to this. He does not do everything that they just listen to for 2 hours. I love you, Dave.
I love you too. And give your wife, Kelly, a big hug from us.
I will.
Miss you guys. So
miss you too. We'll see each other.
Thanks for having me here. This is fun.
God in heaven, please. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy to talk to you.
I'm like your 70th guest, right?
No.
Am I like guest number 70?
50-something.
50-something.
Yeah, but John was on, but it was just audio. This is where you get the Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you get the facial expression.
I didn't start. I was mainly audio in the beginning because I was, back in the early days of Zoom. I didn't know what I was doing. I just wanted to do a podcast, and I love the company I do it with, Studio 71, and people seem to like it, and I love doing it. So I love you. Let's talk soon.
I love you too.
Let's talk really soon.
Okay.
Okay, because this was exhausting.
I know.
Oh my God. This cup of fart. Blow one hand fart as you leave.
I can do a real one. Ready?
That wasn't real. Dave, was that a real fart? Dave, it sounded like a wet balloon with meatloaf in it. Dave, that was a real fart? You're an animal. That was, Dave, you shit yourself. I'm listening to it. That was wet meatloaf in a baggie. Dave, you got to go wipe. You got to go. Do you have a toilet that squirts water? You got to go on a bidet. Dave, I can't believe you did that.
You asked.
I'm going to do a new intro and say that if you listen carefully, you're going to hear Dave shit his pants.
You have to listen all the way to the end.
Okay, Dave, just sign off. You got to go wipe.
All right.
I love you. Have a good wiping.
All right.
Oh my God. Bye. That was one of my best friends in my whole life, Dave Coulier, who ended by actually shitting his pants. I don't know what to say to you. I don't know how to explain it. It's real. It happened. It's a first, I think, for any podcast. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure Drunk History has had that many times happen. I really love that guy, and I miss him. We miss a lot of people right now, don't we? Yeah. So that's the key to me, is connecting with people that you love and calling people you haven't talked to, or Zooming with them or FaceTiming or whatever you can. Hopefully they won't crap their pants while you're talking to them. Do what you do with this podcast, subscribe or follow and rate, review, those things. Positive, though. Go positive. Come on, I can't take the negative anymore. And I'll be calling you guys sometimes, and you can leave a message at that number that's listed up there in the podcast thing, and I'll announce it on Twitter or on Instagram stories or Facebook that I'll be calling you guys. So I'm sending you all my best, and I'll talk to you on the next episode of Bob Saget's Here For You. I'm not going to crap.